Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. For those of you who haven't met me yet, I am Pauline, and yes, Christmas has hit in my household. As you can see behind me, my tree doesn't actually flash, by the way. There's still lights. I've tried messing with settings on this camera. I'm not very good at it, so hopefully this doesn't do you nothing. Anyhow, so yes, Christmas has hit. I busted out the hat. I know how much you guys love my hats. It's actually my daughter, so it's a bit small, but we're just gonna push on through that. And yes, I have all 9 of my trees up. Yes, I said 9. 9 trees. The only room in my house that hasn't got a tree is my little toilet upstairs. I'm starting to wonder whether it needs a tree. Anyway, I'm going way off track here. So as you guys know, I'm kind of new to this still. And I've noticed on some of the other videos that other people do on YouTube, they kind of put a disclaimer at the front of their videos. So maybe I should do the same. With that in mind, I just want to say that all my videos are never ever meant to hurt or upset anybody that is actually involved in the story should they happen to see my videos. And also, I need to stop saying the word videos, sorry. Also, everything I try and tell you guys is factually correct as far as I can tell. If it's not, let me know in the comments. I mean, I'm human, I make mistakes, I'm sure. I try not to, I try and keep it as on point as I can. So with that in mind, I'm going to get straight in and tell you a story about the Ortega family, which happened in 2008 and what was dubbed the Santa Claus killings. Yep, you heard it right. Let's get into it. The Ortega family lived in Covina in Las Vegas. Head of the household was Joseph, who was 80 years old, and 70-year-old Alyssa, his wife. Now, they had 5 grown-up children: Charles, James, Alyssa, Letitia, and Sylvia. Now, they all had their own families as well, and on Christmas Eve, like many families do, the Ortega household had a party. Now, not only were all the grown-up children there, the parents there, they had their families, they had friends. There was around 25 to 30 people at this party. Everybody is having a great time. The adults are playing poker, the children are playing video games, the perfect night. So around 11:30, they're wrapping the party up, getting ready to leave. Everyone's, heading towards the front door, and there's a knock at the door. 8-year-old Katrina, who is Letitia's, one of the grown-up children's daughter, runs to the door to open it. To her surprise, she sees Father Christmas holding a present. Of course, what 8-year-old is not going to start screaming, "Santa, Santa, Santa"? The minute she does, Santa Claus shoots her in the face. Yep, you heard that right. He shoots an 8-year-old point blank in the face. What the hell? Like, seriously. Luckily for Katrina, I will put this in here right now because that's quite disturbing, but luckily for Katrina, he hits her jaw and her cheek, so she didn't die, but obviously she suffered major injuries. With that, he's then opened fire on the rest of the guests. They're all running for cover, they're diving under tables, everybody's screaming, and in the midst of all this, people are shouting, "It's Bruce, it's Bruce." So they obviously knew who this man was. So he comes in, empties his gun completely on everybody and anything and anyone that moves, and when he's done that, he unwraps his present he has in his hand, and you'll never believe to God what it is. It's a flamethrower. Of course, why wouldn't Father Christmas be carrying a flamethrower? He opens his flamethrower and he basically sprays everything in sight with racing fuel, like gasoline, petrol, that kind of thing, and sets the place on fire whilst continuing his rampage. Now, I'm going to put a little video up now of some of the phone calls that came in to the police. It's harrowing, really. You've got neighbours calling, saying that they can hear gunshots, saying that somebody's deliberately set fire to the house. I'll let you have a listen to him. Also in this phone call, you can hear Letitia. She's managed to run out of the house, and she actually met her 8-year-old daughter, who was alive outside as well. She's also on this call, so have a quick listen to this.
Covina 911.
Yes, I'm on Northwest Avenue. I'm homicidal died, and he shot my little cousin right now.
Okay, can you tell if there's anybody injured? Because we have fire department and officers en route.
Hello.
Hi.
Please come immediately.
Who's in your house?
Immediately.
Ma'am, is the guy in your house right now?
We're having 2 houses down on the cookie section.
Okay. Ma'am, hold on. Is he at your house?
Yes, he's constantly shooting.
What do you think his name is, Bruce?
His name is Bruce Pardo.
Okay, and who is he to you guys?
Excuse me?
Who is he to you?
He's my ex-brother-in-law. They're going through a divorce right now.
Okay.
With my sister.
Hold on 1 second, okay?
I don't know who else is alive.
I know, ma'am. Just stay on the phone with me, okay?
My whole family, there's 30 people.
No, I know. It's okay. The officers are there. They're trying to get to you guys, okay?
He came in through the entrance of the door, and it was a Santa Claus suit, and I didn't see from when he shot. I heard the shots, and they were like poppers, and I wasn't sure what it was, so everyone started panicking and running, so we all dove under the dining room. Some of us dove, some of us left. I don't know. My mom's house is on the...
Ma'am, the fire department's there, okay? What's he wearing?
What is he wearing? Please. What is he wearing? Please tell me. My nephew... What is he wearing now? He changed his clothes from Santa Claus clothes.
Okay, let me know what he's wearing.
Black clothes.
All black?
He's on neighbor's doors.
Those phone calls are really quite hard to listen to. I mean, you can't begin to imagine the absolute sheer panic that must have gone through their minds. I mean, what an absolute horrific thing to happen. We all sort of walk through life never expecting bad things to happen to us. But something like this is straight out of a horror film. This is something you would never, ever imagine to happen, let alone happen to you. So to be the person on the end of this phone call, I can't imagine what she's going through. 3 people were seriously injured, but survived. So you have Katrina, who was 8, who was shot to the face. She had surgery and survived. She was fine. A 16-year-old was shot in the back, but made a full recovery. And also a 20-year-old woman who had jumped from one of the top floors to escape. She made a full recovery too. She just broke her ankle. But you had 9 people missing. I'm sorry, I'm trying to remember all the facts here. There's 9 people missing. Everybody kind of knew who they were, because they were the only 9 people missing out of the party, but the fire was so intense that it made their bodies unrecognizable. So they had to go through dental and medical records to try and find out exactly who was who. There was 17-year-old Michael, who I do believe was a son of one of the Ortega family. He was found upstairs. He died from the fire on his own, which is so sad, bless him. I mean, he must have just been running from his life and the fire's caught up with him. You know, that's horrific. There was also Sherry Lynn and Teresa Ortega who died, along with Mr. and Mrs. Ortega and 4 of the Ortega children. The only one that survived was Letitia, and obviously her daughter, 8-year-old Katrina. I mean, it's really hard to put into words. So let's get on to who actually did this and why. So his name is Bruce Pardo. He is ex-husband of Sylvia. Now, they actually wasn't married for very long. I think they was married for around a year, and ended up in a bit of a messy divorce. Sylvia divorced Bruce because she found out that he was lying pretty much through their whole marriage. I mean, if you're going to start a marriage off based on a lie, then what's the point? Her theory, anyway. No, she's not wrong. I just had to put that in there because that sounded bad. No, she's not wrong, you know? So, you know, she divorced him and thought she was getting on with the life. They had no children together. Sylvia had 3 children from a separate marriage. And Bruce claimed to not have any children, and this is where the lies kind of came out and where it started. Bruce claimed not to have any children, but that was actually a lie. He had a son called Matthew, and he was married before to a woman named Elena. Now, whilst he was with Elena and his child was 13 months old, Elena went out food shopping and left Matthew with his father, Bruce. And on Elena's return, she found Bruce standing by the swimming pool holding the lifeless body of Matthew. Now, there isn't exact details what happened, but from what I can gather, Bruce wasn't paying attention or took his eye off him. I don't know. He wandered out into the garden, he fell into the pool, and that's where Bruce found him. I'm assuming by the time Elena found him, he was in shock. He didn't know what to do. They raced him to the hospital. He did survive, but he suffered such severe brain damage that he would be in a wheelchair for the rest of his life. So over the next 6 months, Bruce and Elena's relationship broke down and they evidently split up. Bruce basically ignored his child from that point. He didn't exist. He didn't help with maintenance, expenses, bills, anything like that. He just ignored him and carried on his life like normal. I mean, it baffles me when parents can do that to a child regardless of what the circumstances are. I don't understand it personally. I could never do that to my kids. Whatever happened in my life, I could never just ignore them and then to just act like they don't exist. Not a nice man from the start, I'd say. So Sylvia actually found out this information from his mother, from Bruce's mother. She still kept in contact with Elena and her grandson Matthew. Now, I'm not quite sure how that conversation came up. Maybe she just assumed that he would tell his new wife all about his previous marriage and his son. I mean, why wouldn't you? Now, so Bruce is obviously feeling very betrayed by his mum. His divorce actually finalised a week before this attack, and he also lost his job. So he's obviously at rock bottom, and at this point he's just thinking, I haven't got nothing to lose. He's out for revenge. He hates the world. I mean, boo-hoo, Bruce, this is not a reason to do what you did, you know? So the police at this point are looking for Bruce. They're trying to find him, and they get a call from their colleagues in Selma. Now, remember, this happened in Covina. Now, in Selma, Brad Pardo, who is Bruce's brother, had called the police because he came home from a Christmas Eve party to find his brother sitting there in his own pool of blood, dead. So when they go to investigate, it was Bruce Pardo, and he'd shot himself in the head. So they found that Bruce had shot himself with a 9mm handgun. He also had one in his lap and one down beside him. Now, it turns out that Bruce's original plans wasn't to kill himself. He was going to take a plane to Illinois. He had bought plane tickets. He had contacted a friend in the weeks before saying that he was coming to visit. So yeah, it looks like his original plans wasn't to kill himself. He also had £17,000 wrapped in cling film around his leg, suggesting that obviously if you're going to go on the run, you're going to need money. This is how he was going to do it. But Bruce suffered third-degree burns in the fire, which serves him damn right. And his Santa suit had actually melted to his skin. How horrific. I mean, that must have been painful. We can only hope for him. Painful, you know. So what he did was he took off as much of this Santa suit as he could that wasn't melted to his skin. He put it in the rental car outside, but that wasn't all he did. He rigged it with gunpowder, so if anybody went out there to find it, to touch it, whatever, the car was going to explode. In fact, the car did actually explode, but nobody luckily was hurt in that. I mean, the guy just didn't give up, did he? When the police then visited Bruce's house, they found 4 other handguns that had a 13-round capacity, 200 rounds of ammunition, 5 empty boxes for shotguns, and the empty fuel container that he used for the flamethrower. I mean, this story really, I mean, I always say things like this, but honestly, it blows my mind. Like, how, I don't understand how somebody gets to that point in their life where they need to inflict so much pain and misery in such a vicious, nasty way. I mean, it truly is horrific. I mean, the good thing to come out of this, if you can say a good thing to come out of this, Letitia, one of the older Ortega children, she now has a blog of her own, spreading positivity and love and sharing her experience and trying to help people. And her daughter Katrina, who remember was 8 years old at the time, she now campaigns against gun laws and tries to help people herself. So I'm glad that they have gained strength somewhere and they're trying to help spread positivity, and they haven't let this man win. It hasn't completely taken over every single part of their life. They're still able to give love and help other people. So that is one good thing. So that is it. That's the end of the misery. As I said last week, I've got a little story now for you that hopefully should bring a big smile to your face. I'm just going to get straight into it. Enjoy this. We all need a bit of positivity. Have a look.
Holiday season to remember at a time of year when it can be easy to fall victim to retailers telling us to buy and sell our way into debt for the new year. We discovered a few children who taught us what it really means and what really counts.
And here's Jerry Gressingers with tonight's Upside Report.
Even advent calendars can be misconstrued as a way for kids to get something, each day getting another piece of candy or some little trinket. But local second grader Bryce Kelly turned that around, each day on his advent calendar revealing what to give to others.
It makes me feel happy, joyful.
He started small, helping teachers in the classroom, but wanted to step it up. Told his mom he'd like to involve other people.
I wanted to share it. My mom said people are just too busy, so all I said was, Mom, I think you're underestimating people.
Short story, they reached out to others, and many made time to help with donations for care packages that were delivered to homeless shelters, nursing homes, and cancer treatment centers.
I think you could fit in a little bit of kindness.
It was a school project that spurred Ryan Ingber to help others. The 10-year-old from Greenwich was tasked with learning how to be an entrepreneur, so he started making candles.
Cinnamon, vanilla, jasmine, lavender, pumpkin spice.
He was off and running, buying big bags of wax, recycling old candles, putting in all kinds of time to get his candles with character just right. The next part of being an entrepreneur to make money, and when he did, he chose to give some away to the comfort food community of Food Pantry in Greenwich.
I hope other people can get that money and buy stuff that they need for Christmas.
You're the best baby in the world.
And in what was perhaps the most notable and most random act of kindness in recent memory, 11-year-old Josh Cusdy saw a man in a wheelchair struggling to get home during a snowstorm. Josh darted from his mom's car in a supermarket parking lot to help. And when he discovered the man lived nearly a mile down Central Avenue, he convinced his mom to give the stranger a ride.
Everybody was just driving by and not even caring to help. He was literally walking in the road.
Josh was recognized as the Albany County Citizen of the Month, and the man in the wheelchair, Keith Oakes, was contacted by old friends from Bethlehem High School who'd lost track of him years ago. Having fallen on tough times, Keith's old friends decided to help him turn things around, starting a GoFundMe page and working to get him out of the city mission and into a place of his own, just in time for the holidays.
Something that I didn't expect or even think I deserved. And
it all goes to prove one small good deed, one person reaching out to another with a simple gesture of kindness, really can change lives. Jerry Gretz.
So as you've probably guessed, I love that story. I really, really do. How amazing are those little kids? I mean, at that young age, to be willing to go the extra mile, to want to help, to want to make a difference in people's lives they don't even know, that is amazing. Let's face it, we need more people like them in this world. So for them to already be starting at that age, just imagine what they can do throughout their life to make a difference. It's amazing. Well done to their parents. They're obviously bringing up some really, really good kids, and we need that in this world. So if you have enjoyed everything you've seen today, don't forget to like, subscribe, turn your notifications on. Me and my pals here will be back next week with a new story. And happy December. It's the 1st of December. 24 sleeps until Father Christmas is here. I hope you're all as excited as me, and I will see you all next week.